Okay, hello. I'm going to try to describe how I would go about drawing this to create vectors for CNC. The only problem is one does not simply create quick videos about vector graphics because that's not all there is to it. So this is more like our first baby steps for me to start making videos like this and for you to start learning how to draw vectors. This came up on Facebook, trying to draw this ordinary image with ordinary tracing software to make vectors for CNC. And that don't work too good. It's just a small JPEG image, and what you really have here is this. But the vector tracing software can't draw too good because it'll kind of look like that. That. And it'll do a bunch of math and give you some vectors that look kind of like that. And that's exactly what it's supposed to do. And it thinks that's what you want because that's what you told it to do. And you probably had to work a lot harder to find out how bad it turns out than I had to show you how it would turn out. And that's the beauty of how I do it, is it can be much faster and easier and less frustrating than working with vector tracing software. And the problem now is the image is still too small. The pixels are too big to draw anything. So I'm going to erase all that and show you how I would do this. First, I need some space around the edges, so I'm going to canvas a little bigger. And then I'm going to make the image a lot bigger. And I usually go 8, 8, 8, 8. And I've gotten used to that size range. And I know that if I want my canvas to be 12 inches wide, then I can set my brush size 37 pixels. And that will be 0.05 inches. And if I want my canvas to represent 24 inches wide, then that would be 0.05 inches. And this would be 0.1 inches. This is a brush size of 19 pixels, and this is a brush size of 37 pixels. And if I go back to where I figure the canvas is 12 inches wide, and this is 0.05, then this is 0.025. And if I want to draw 0.125 inches wide, then I can double that, be 75 is 0.1 inches, add that, about 95 pixels wide brush would be 0.125 inches wide when I vectorize it and make it all 12 inches wide. But that's all relative until I actually vectorize it and scale it to 12 inches wide. So if I wanted my canvas to be 12 inches wide and I wanted to draw this bird 0.125 inches wide, then I can just set my brush size to 95 pixels and draw the bird. And when I get done, that would be 0.125 inches wide. But obviously that's too thick. So I would want my canvas to be 12 inches wide if I want this to draw this bird 0.125 inches wide. But if I wanted my canvas to be 24 inches wide, then I could set my brush size to 47. And then I can draw the bird 0.125 inches wide. And that looks a little better. I could run my vector tracing software on that and be done with it. If that's what I wanted, I'd be finished. But as usual, that's not all there is to it. There are much better ways to draw things, and rarely would that be the best way to draw this bird. But it would work. And after you draw something, there are ways to make it a little better, which would be to select and smooth, fill it with black, select the inverse and erase it. And that looks a little better because we got rid of the sharp corners. And I would never want to draw right on the image like this, because if I wanted to erase, then I erase what I was trying to trace. So what I want to do is draw on a separate layer so that I can draw and erase without affecting what I'm tracing. So I would create a new layer, and now I can draw and erase. But now if this was black, then I wouldn't be able to see what I was drawing. So I want to go back to the original layer and mute the contrast and make it lighter. And then sometimes you want to be able to see your drawing without seeing the image you're tracing. So what I do is create that one layer and fill it with white, and then I create a new layer to draw on. So I can draw and turn that second layer off and on to be able to see what I'm drawing. And now I'm going to end this video here, and I will do the drawing and talk about drawing techniques in a separate video. And this video shows the preliminary setup that I will be using. We took the original image and made it very big and muted the colors, and then we created a solid white layer on top of that we can turn off and on, and then we created a blank layer on top of that to draw on. And so before the next video, your homework assignment is hit like and subscribe